Have you ever taken a moment to think about whether your everyday behaviors might be quietly affecting the health of your prostate? In particular, have you ever considered that something as routine and seemingly harmless as masturbation could actually be playing a bigger role in your wellness than you imagined? What if this simple, often overlooked habit held more significance, especially as you grow older? The truth may surprise you, and it's worth taking a closer look at this topic that, while important, often remains in the shadows of mainstream health discussions. The prostate, although a relatively small gland, is essential when it comes to your reproductive and urinary systems. Its function ties directly into the way your body produces and supports healthy sperm, as well as how efficiently you urinate. Developing a clear understanding of how your lifestyle habits, particularly sexual practices like masturbation, can influence this gland is key to making smarter, more supportive health decisions moving forward. In this video, we're not just focusing on the biological mechanics of the prostate, we're also diving into the layers of misunderstanding that often cloud this conversation. We'll cover the impact of masturbating on a daily basis, explore whether frequent ejaculation offers benefits or poses risks, and reveal what might happen when you choose to stop for 30 days. Backed by real research, we'll walk through facts, offer insights, and provide tips to help you feel informed and empowered. So the question stands, is masturbation a helpful or harmful habit when it comes to your prostate health? Stick around as we answer this in detail. Along the way, I'll be sharing some powerful health strategies, revealing little-known facts, and giving you a fresh lens through which to view this part of your life. By the end of this, you'll have gained new tools to make better health decisions, and you'll likely wonder why this information isn't talked about more often. Before we begin, if you find this topic valuable, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with anyone who might benefit from it. Your support helps us grow and continue creating content that matters. Feel free to drop a comment below, too. I'd love to hear your experience or answer any questions you may have. Now let's begin. To start, let's talk about what the prostate actually does and why it's so important. Though it's small in size, about the size of a walnut, it has a massive impact on male health, particularly when it comes to fertility and urinary function. The prostate produces seminal fluid, which mixes with sperm to help nourish it, protect it, and keep it viable long enough to achieve fertilization. Without this contribution, reproduction becomes far less efficient. But the prostate isn't just about reproduction. It's also crucial for maintaining healthy urination. This gland surrounds the urethra, the tube responsible for carrying urine out of the body. When the prostate changes in size or shape, often due to aging, it can squeeze or obstruct the urethra, affecting the ease and strength of your urination. As you get older, keeping your prostate healthy becomes even more vital. Issues here can show up as symptoms like difficulty fully emptying your bladder, a sudden or frequent need to urinate, or a weak urine stream. These aren't just inconveniences, they're signals from your body that something isn't quite right and needs attention. If left unaddressed, these problems can evolve into more serious conditions like BPH, or benign prostatic hyperplasia, or prostate cancer. That's why looking after your prostate should be a top health priority, not just to support your sexual health, but to protect your overall comfort and long-term well-being. And now that we understand its importance, it's time to dig into one of the biggest questions many men quietly ask. What role does masturbation actually play in all of this? Let's take a moment to unpack a question that has lingered in the minds of many men for years. Can masturbation genuinely impact your prostate health? It's a topic that has sparked plenty of debate, shrouded in misinformation and conflicting advice. The truth is, this subject is far more complex than a straightforward yes or no. The impact of self-pleasure on your prostate is layered, and in some cases, the answer changes depending on your age, overall health, and frequency of the act. To begin with, let's look at the positives. There are scientific studies that suggest regular ejaculation, whether achieved through masturbation or partnered intimacy, can actually support prostate health, especially for men. How does that work? The principle is quite simple. Frequent ejaculation helps to flush out the prostate. Just as the body benefits from detoxifying processes elsewhere, the regular clearing of fluid from this gland can help remove potentially harmful substances that might otherwise build up over time. Think of it like changing the oil in your car. You wouldn't wait years before performing that maintenance. Your engine needs clean oil to run efficiently. In a similar way, consistent ejaculation keeps the prostate's internal environment fresh and less susceptible to stagnation or inflammation. This process may even reduce the risk of certain conditions, such as prostate cancer, which is believed to be influenced in part by inflammation and cellular buildup. Some medical literature compares this routine flushing to a self-cleaning mechanism. By releasing fluids on a consistent basis, you're helping the prostate operate more smoothly. In this sense, masturbation isn't just a form of pleasure, it could be performing a small maintenance task for your reproductive system. For men over 50 especially, this practice may serve a protective function. That's a pretty compelling reason to pay closer attention to how often you're engaging in it. But here's where it gets a bit complicated. While frequent ejaculation may offer potential health benefits, especially for aging men, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. In younger men, the situation might be different. Some studies have raised concerns that high-frequency masturbation, especially during adolescence or early adulthood, could possibly correlate with a slightly increased risk of certain aggressive forms of prostate cancer. Although this connection isn't universally agreed upon, it has opened up a broader conversation. Why does this happen? Experts believe it could come down to factors like hormone fluctuations, genetic predisposition, and individual physiology. Not everybody reacts the same way to repeated stimulation. For some people, frequent arousal and ejaculation might trigger hormonal patterns that are not optimal for long-term prostate health. That's why it's essential not to make broad assumptions and instead approach the subject with balance and care. So how do you navigate this? The most important takeaway is moderation. Regular ejaculation can be beneficial, but too much of anything, even a good thing, can have unintended consequences. The goal is to maintain a level of frequency that feels natural and healthy for your body. If you find yourself wondering if your habits are excessive or potentially harmful, don't guess. Talk to a provider. A trusted medical professional can offer personalized advice based on your unique history and risk factors. Ultimately, your prostate doesn't exist in a vacuum. Its well-being is tied closely to your overall lifestyle, your diet, physical activity, stress levels, and yes, your sexual habits. Taking consistent, balanced action to support this small but powerful gland can pay off in major ways down the road. Just like you'd care for your heart, liver, or brain, your prostate deserves mindful attention too. Whether that includes regular sexual activity or strategic periods of rest, the key is to be intentional and informed in every step you take. Have you ever heard of what's called the 30-day abstinence challenge? It's become a popular trend in some wellness and self-improvement circles, with many men claiming it offers not just physical benefits but a full mental and emotional reset. The idea is simple. Abstain from all forms of sexual release, including masturbation and sex, for a full month and observe how your body and mind respond. But the question remains, does taking a break from ejaculation actually help the prostate, or is this just another internet fad with no medical grounding? Let's examine what we actually know. At this point, there's limited scientific evidence to support the notion that abstaining from ejaculation for 30 days causes any significant measurable changes to the physical condition of the prostate itself. That said, many men who have tried it report a variety of benefits, not necessarily on a biological level, but more so in terms of energy levels, mental clarity, emotional balance, and even a renewed sense of motivation and confidence. So while the physical science might not yet offer a definitive answer, there's clearly something happening that's worth exploring further. For some men, this period of abstinence brings about a shift in awareness. They report feeling more grounded, less impulsive, and more in control of their emotional responses. Others say that their libido returns stronger, more focused, and more natural after the break, almost like rebooting a system that had been running nonstop. These mental and psychological effects shouldn't be dismissed. The mind-body connection is real, and feeling more centered mentally can lead to better health decisions and lower stress overall, both of which indirectly support prostate and hormonal health. However, not all experiences are the same. For other individuals, abstaining for 30 days might not yield noticeable changes at all. They may feel frustrated, distracted, or simply unchanged, which can lead to confusion or self-doubt. That's why it's important to remember. The effects of abstinence are deeply personal. Your age, hormone levels, mental state, and overall lifestyle all influence how your body reacts to such a pause. What feels beneficial for one man might feel uncomfortable or unnecessary for another. There's no universal rule here. If you're curious about trying it, treat the challenge as an experiment in self-awareness, not a guarantee of any health outcome. You might gain new insight into your patterns, habits, or emotional triggers around sexuality. Or you may simply confirm that regular sexual activity is a natural and healthy part of your routine. Either way, the key is to observe yourself without judgment. If you notice any benefits, physical or mental, use that information to guide your future choices. And if you don't, that's perfectly okay too. Ultimately, the value of the 30-day abstinence challenge lies less in its physiological impact and more in its ability to help you reconnect with your body and mind. Think of it as a reflective pause, a way to reassess your habits, listen to what your body is telling you, and make decisions that feel more aligned with your long-term health. Whether or not you continue the challenge beyond 30 days, what you learn from it can contribute to a stronger relationship with yourself and a more intentional approach to your health and intimacy moving forward. As men age, one of the most common health concerns they face is benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH for short. This condition refers to a non-cancerous enlargement of the prostate gland, and while it's not inherently dangerous, it can lead to a wide range of uncomfortable and disruptive symptoms. BPH is extremely common, especially in men over the age of 50, and its effects can have a significant impact not only on physical comfort, but also on sexual well-being and overall quality of life. So what exactly happens when the prostate begins to enlarge? Because the prostate wraps around the urethra, the tube that carries urine from the bladder out of the body, any increase in its size can create pressure on this passageway. As a result, you might start experiencing urinary symptoms such as a weak stream, difficulty starting or stopping urination, an urgent need to urinate frequently, especially at night, or the sensation that your bladder isn't fully empty even after relieving yourself. These issues are more than just frustrating. They can disrupt your sleep, concentration, and emotional well-being over time. But the effects of BPH go beyond urination. One of the more overlooked aspects of this condition is how it influences sexual function. Men with an enlarged prostate may experience reduced libido, less intense orgasms, difficulty achieving or maintaining an erection, or even discomfort during ejaculation. These symptoms can lead to embarrassment, self-consciousness, and strain in intimate relationships. Many men begin to feel as if their body is betraying them or that their masculinity is slipping away. But it's important to understand that these changes are not your fault and are more common than most people realize. Fortunately, BPH is not a life sentence. There are effective treatment options available, ranging from lifestyle adjustments and natural supplements to medical therapies and minimally invasive procedures. The most important thing is not to ignore the symptoms. If you notice persistent issues with your urination or sexual performance, consult a healthcare provider. Together, you can assess your condition and develop a plan that works for you. Early intervention can prevent complications and help you regain your confidence, energy, and sense of control. Understanding and managing BPH requires patience and self-compassion. It's a condition that may come with age, but it doesn't have to take over your life. With the right support and proactive care, you can maintain both urinary comfort and sexual vitality well into your later years. The key is not to suffer in silence. Speak up, seek support, and know that you're not alone. Millions of men are navigating this same journey, and help is available every step of the way. Now let's turn our focus to one of the most frequently debated and scientifically intriguing topics when it comes to men's health: the relationship between ejaculation frequency and the risk of developing prostate cancer. For years, researchers, doctors, and health advocates have studied this connection, trying to determine whether frequent ejaculation serves as a protective measure or if in certain cases it might actually increase risk. While the evidence continues to evolve, this topic remains one of the most important discussions in men's wellness today. Several studies, particularly those involving men over the age of 50, have suggested that ejaculating more often may be linked to a reduced risk of prostate cancer. The theory behind this is based on the idea that regular release of prostate fluid helps clear out potentially harmful substances, such as inflammatory agents or waste materials that could otherwise linger inside the gland. This regular flushing effect may reduce the chances of cellular damage or mutation that could lead to cancer over time. Think of it like cleaning out a drain pipe. If you let it sit stagnant for too long, buildup occurs, debris settles in, blockages form, and over time the system may become compromised. But if you keep water flowing regularly through that pipe, you reduce the risk of buildup. Similarly, ejaculation may help maintain the internal environment of the prostate, keeping it healthier and reducing the opportunity for harmful substances to take root and trigger disease. However, it's important to point out that this isn't a universally accepted conclusion. While the data in older men is promising, studies involving younger men have shown mixed results. Some research even suggests that extremely high ejaculation frequency, particularly at a young age, could be linked to a slight increase in the risk of developing aggressive forms of prostate cancer. This finding has led to confusion and concern as it challenges the simple idea that more is always better. So what could explain this discrepancy? It likely comes down to individual variability. Genetics, hormone levels, overall lifestyle, and other risk factors all play a role in how ejaculation frequency impacts prostate health. A man in his 30s with a family history of prostate cancer might respond differently to frequent sexual activity than someone without that genetic risk. The same behavior can lead to different outcomes depending on the body's unique makeup and how it processes testosterone, inflammation, and cellular repair. Because of these nuances, there's no universal rule. Some men may benefit from frequent ejaculation, while others may not see any noticeable difference or could even experience unintended consequences. That's why it's so critical to avoid blanket assumptions and instead focus on personalized health care. The most effective approach is to talk openly with a medical professional about your lifestyle, risk factors, and family history. They can help you interpret the science in a way that's relevant to you. In the end, this debate isn't about fear or pressure. It's about awareness and balance. Rather than chasing arbitrary numbers, focus on maintaining a sexual routine that feels natural, sustainable, and healthy for your body. If you have concerns, don't hesitate to get tested, ask questions, and advocate for your long-term wellness. Knowledge is power, and when you understand how your actions affect your prostate, you give yourself the opportunity to live a longer, healthier life. Let's now explore a critical piece of the puzzle when it comes to safeguarding your prostate health. Maintaining a healthy, balanced sexual lifestyle. For many men, sexuality is closely tied to identity, emotional well-being, and physical vitality. But beyond personal satisfaction and intimacy, sexual activity also plays a measurable role in supporting the health of your prostate. When approached with intention, regular sexual expression, whether solo or with a partner, can offer far-reaching benefits for your reproductive system, hormonal balance, and mental wellness. One of the clearest advantages of sexual activity is its ability to trigger the release of endorphins, the body's natural feel-good chemicals. These neurochemicals reduce stress, promote relaxation, and enhance your mood, all of which are beneficial not just emotionally but physiologically as well. Lower stress levels contribute to a more balanced hormonal environment in the body, which is essential for maintaining healthy testosterone levels, immune function, and yes, prostate integrity. When your stress goes unchecked, cortisol levels rise, and that can negatively impact hormone regulation and even immune responses that protect prostate cells. Additionally, sexual activity fosters emotional intimacy and relational connection, particularly in long-term partnerships. Feeling close to your partner, expressing affection, and maintaining physical touch are all powerful antidotes to emotional isolation and anxiety. This emotional well-being has a ripple effect. When you feel emotionally grounded, you're more likely to eat well, exercise, get quality sleep, and make healthier lifestyle choices in general. The result? A stronger immune system, better blood flow, and improved organ health, including the prostate. It's also important to understand the mechanical benefit of regular ejaculation. As discussed earlier, the prostate's job is to produce seminal fluid. When that fluid is routinely expelled, it keeps the internal systems working smoothly and reduces the risk of fluid stagnation. That stagnation over time could potentially contribute to inflammation or the accumulation of substances that might harm prostate tissue. In this sense, sexual activity is not just about pleasure. It becomes part of a larger self-care routine that supports long-term wellness from the inside out. However, a healthy sexual life is not just about frequency. It's about quality, mutual respect, emotional connection, and self-awareness. Being sexually active doesn't mean pushing yourself to follow a rigid schedule or constantly measuring your performance. In fact, the healthiest relationships, both with yourself and your partner, are built on communication, empathy, and understanding each other's needs. When you feel emotionally safe and physically supported, the experience becomes more meaningful and the health benefits deepen. That's why it's so important to find a rhythm that suits your unique needs. Whether that means intimacy a few times a week, once a month, or somewhere in between, what matters most is consistency and balance. Some men may benefit from exploring new forms of connection, such as sensual touch, massage, or even non-sexual affection that still support emotional bonding and relaxation. Others might focus on regaining confidence after a period of low libido or medical treatment. The key is to listen to your body, respect its signals, and approach intimacy as an evolving part of your health journey. If you're ever unsure whether your sexual habits are helping or hindering your health, don't hesitate to talk to a qualified healthcare provider. There's no shame in asking questions or seeking advice. Your sexual well-being is an essential part of your overall vitality. And just like you'd visit a doctor for your heart, your lungs, or your digestive system, your prostate and sexual health deserve that same level of attention and care. As we reach the end of this important conversation, remember this: your prostate health isn't a mystery. It's a reflection of the choices you make every day. Whether it's staying sexually active in a balanced way, managing stress, or simply listening to your body, each small step matters. Masturbation, when approached with awareness, can be part of a healthy routine, not something to fear or feel ashamed about. Your health journey is unique, and it deserves attention and care. Stay informed, stay proactive, and never hesitate to seek support. Your future well-being begins with the decisions you make today.